Hello, welcome to July. Welcome to the coffee chat. I'm in a different place today, and if you're looking around and you're like, Becca, where are you? That's for good reason, because this room didn't look like this a week and a half ago, but this is my craft room. Actually, no, like less than a week ago. Anyway, this is my craft room. So it's upstairs. It's craft / guest room. Actually, we just had a guest this weekend staying in here, and I painted it last week. I painted it last week. So it went from boring and this like really light gray, like this color. It's like almost white, but it's actually gray, which is the color, that our house was when we moved in. And now it is this really deep teal. The color is Bear's, I think, Caribe, Caribe. I feel like it feels like a lagoon to me. It's like the vibes it's giving off. It's like mermaid lagoon, and I think I'm gonna really lean into that. I showed my grandma-in-law, my husband's grandmother, and that's the first thing she said. She was like, "Oh, it's like underwater. You should do like an under the sea theme." And I was like, I got you. So let me show you real quick what I've got so far. I'm not quite done, but I'm like this close. So I still need to hang things on the walls, and then I have like 2 organizers that just came in to get things situated because I've been trying to organize everything. But here's our quick little tour. Here's my dog. So I moved things around a little bit. This chair actually turns into a bed, which is why this is like / guest room. I know they're gingerbread men, but they're so cute. And then it looks like this. So desks are over here now. They used to be over there. And then I have, this is actually a kitchen island. It's like on wheels. So right now it has my sewing machine. I think I'm going to get a sewing machine cabinet. I found one that like folds up really small to put here instead. But I do like this because it gives me extra space if I want it. And then if I don't want it, it's pretty compact. And then I have all of my space. I organized all of my drawers. I have my yellow desk, which I love. Not desk, dresser. And then I also organized the closet. So it's like not 100% there, but it's really stinking close. It's really, yeah. If you'd seen it before, you would be very impressed. But anyway, so I thought it would be fun to hang out in here while we did our July coffee chat, and we're gonna try something wild and see if we can get everything in one shot. Although I say that and I know I already forgot. Oh no, I can't do this one-handed. Okay, I think I left one of my books downstairs, so you know what, it's gonna be fine. And if you're like, Becca, are you wearing exercise shorts with your button-down shirt? The answer is yes. Yes, I am, because that's what we do here. So let me grab my coffee. I have my notes, and we should be good as long as Nyla does not attack the tripod, which is what she does like to do. So we've got that here. Oh, okay. You can't do that. You can't do that. You can sit. That'd be great. Thanks. Okay. I feel like this is a little bit of a weird angle, but I think we're just gonna leave it and it's gonna be great. Anyway, hello. Welcome to July. I am really trying not to freak out about the fact that it is now officially July. I'm actually filming this on July 1st because I've been really busy. I was doing this last week, and that took pretty much the whole week because, you know, by the time you pull everything out, paint for 2 days, and then you got to put everything back in, and I was actually trying to put it in strategically and organize everything. It took pretty much the whole week. And then this weekend was really busy, and it was very people-y. We had like a party to go to on Saturday, and then we had like a church hangout after church with like food, and then we had a family party with husband's family. So like it was very people-y this weekend. And then yesterday and today I organized the children's church room at the church with one of the teenagers, which was very nice of her to actually two. Today we had 2. Yesterday we had 1, but she invited another one today. So that was great to get that done. It wasn't the most exciting thing to do. I'm feeling a little weird because I'm kind of out of my, like, you know, kind of routine that I had gotten into, but it's fine because we're gonna get back into it next week. So anyway, June is over. In June, I had a really good June. I really am trying to make this summer like really count, and I have loved every second of it. It has been full. I've done some stuff, but I've also had a lot of time to like relax. I've been painting a ton. I didn't get to paint last week because I was painting the walls, but in general I've been painting a ton, which is why I wanted to update this room, because this is where I paint, and so I was like, it's so boring here. It was also a mess, so it really needed to get reorganized too. So I was like, well, if I'm gonna reorganize, I might as well just, you know, paint the walls, make it pretty. And so there was that, but it just, yeah, it's just been nice. I've also been working a good bit. I've been doing like 2 to 5 hours every day on the business, mostly TPT stuff, also some stuff for you. I've been working with the cohort that's doing my group mentorship program, so I've been working with them, but for the most part I've been working a lot on TPT stuff and blog posts and getting curriculum done and just all that kind of stuff, and it's been really good. So at the beginning of the summer, I was like, what do I want to do this summer? And my answer is really truly where I was like, I want to do the things I don't have time for. So I want to get work done for the business, especially things that take a lot of effort and like a lot of thinking time. I want to go to the pool, and I want to paint. And those were like my 3 main things. And I also wanted to read. Those were like my main things that I was like, these are the things that I want to do. So on the whole, I've been spending a lot more time at my house, and I haven't been like going all sorts of places. I have hung out with some people, but I've been trying to like have as much time at home as I can, because that's just kind of like what I enjoy. So that's what's been up. As far as books that I have read, I did get some reading done. So this month, now I'm trying to like remember off the top of my head because I didn't write everything down. I finished the book called The Dragon Republic. So that was the second book in the Poppy War series. I finished the first book last month, according to the journal. It was done on the 29th of last month. And then that should be 6/11. It says 5/11. But I finished The Dragon Republic, so that was the second book. I didn't realize those were both like 500 and 600 page books until like I got to the very end of the second one. And so after the second one, I read the first 2 back to back, and then I was like, I'm gonna take a little break. So I read a book that I actually got in the book of the month, which I just joined. I need to check and see what the new books of the month are. But it's like a subscription service, so every month you get a new book, and if you wanted to try it out, I think if you use my link, you get the first book for like $5, which is great. So what I used my first book on was, I got the book called The Amalfi Curse, which I thought was up here, and it's not. So I don't know where it is because I've been moving things all around. But it was a really good book. It is like dual perspective. So part of it's historical fiction, part of it's current. The historical fiction part is a girl who is a witch in Italy, and specifically a sea witch, and so her and her fellow witches are able to like change the currents of the ocean, and they have like 7 spells that they're able to do on the ocean, and they use it to protect their town of Positano. And then the current viewpoint of it is a current girl who is a marine archaeologist, and she is diving down to some wrecks that are near Positano and like trying to put everything together and figure out that mystery. So it was really cool. I also love diving, so that was a really fun little aspect for me personally. I enjoyed that. It was very summery. It was really good. I would give it a 4, so not like the most amazing book I've ever read, but it was good. I would read it again. Did enjoy that one. So we had Dragon Republic, we had that one. And then I just finished a book called The Storyteller's Daughter. It was also historical fiction. I'd give it like a 3. It was free on Prime Reading, so that's why I read it. But it was fine. It wasn't great, but I was interested. I wanted to know what happened, and it was also dual perspective. The historical one being a girl in World War II who's a reporter, and there's a Nazi spy somewhere in the village. And then the current day one is her niece, kind of like trying to figure out everything after she dies. So it was interesting. I enjoyed it. There was some Wicca in it, which I thought was kind of random. And I don't feel like it really advanced the story at all. It wasn't like super detailed, but it was pretty much like, just people being like, oh, and I'm Wicca. And I was like, okay. But it didn't really have much to do with the story. So I don't know. But that was an interesting part of it. And I thought I'd read more things, but I think that might be all. Maybe that's it. I guess I didn't read much last week. I don't know. Okay. Well, I believe that might be all. So we're going to leave it at that. And if I'm wrong, then I apologize. Yeah. So that was June as far as like my life. I would love to know what you got up to in June. So leave that in the comments because it'll be fun to see. We went to the beach a few times just like around here because we live close to the beach. Spent a lot of time at the pool and just took a lot of walks when it's not 1,000,000 degrees or storming, and we've just been having a really good time over here. So just in a really nice chill summer. We haven't done anything crazy. We're not going to Disney this year, which is wild. We are going to Florida in July, but we're not going to Disney. We're going somewhere else to go diving, which I'm very excited about. So that'll be fun, but just having a really chill summer this year. I do want to give a little reminder because that's all the fun, all the things we've been up to, yay. But when it comes to June on TBT, it can be sad. I personally experience, as well as many other sellers, that I typically make between 10 and 20% of my regular income in the months of June and July. So if you're making like $100 and you make $10 in the month of June, you're like on track. 10 to 20% seems to be pretty normal, except for people who do really well with classroom decor items. So like I know one seller who that's like her main thing. So she does actually really well in like July and August, and then not so well the other months of the year because her main thing is classroom decor. It's not my main thing, so I don't find that as much. But that might be something to think about next year. As far as what you should think about this year is that you should be thinking about back to school. So start prepping your store now for back to school. As a reminder, my district goes back the last week of July, which is why I'm very sad that it's already July because I will be in school when it is July. Our kids come back, I think it's like the 3rd, it's really early of August. And so if you are not in that boat, this is your annual reminder that other people are, which means that you need to make sure your back to school stuff is out and posted and ready. If you're making back to school stuff, it needs to be out by like July 15th at the latest because people are going to start buying. Now, people always fight me on this because then they're like, oh, well, I've sold things. I've posted something in September and sold it as back to school. I'm like, that's great. However, it didn't do as well as it would have if you posted it in July. So if you are doing back to school stuff, wrap it up now. It needs to be out ASAP so that people can purchase it. And also you have time to market it, and it has time for the search algorithm to figure out what it is and for people to put in their carts and for people to wish list. Even if they're not buying, it doesn't mean they're not looking. So just think about those kind of things and make sure that you post it early. The earlier you post it, the better. So if you're doing back to school stuff, post it before the 15th. That's not like a super hard deadline. Like, if it's the 16th, it's fine. But just to make sure that you're getting things in a timely fashion, get it up early, shoot for the 15th, and then do any other preps that you need to do. So like if you need to update covers, if you need to update thumbnails and previews and all those kind of things, make sure you prep all of those things as well. Just whatever you want ready for back to school season needs to happen in the month of July. With that being said, if you are wanting to make products and you're worried you don't have enough time, then I would suggest you focus on evergreen products and have some sets of evergreen things that can be sold any time of year, especially if you have anything that can be sold that is a bigger item, a bigger bundle, or something that could be used all year. Those tend to do really well at back to school time. So I sell a lot of big bundles. I sell a lot of things that kind of cover the whole year, even if it's not like the curriculum, if it covers the whole year, it usually does pretty well at back to school time. So just, you know, things to think about. If you want a little bit of help with that, I do have a back to school TPT seller course. It is, goes over like all of the updating. It has like a step-by-step framework of like, if you're in this month, this is what you need to work on. If you're in this month, this is what you need to work on. So it gives you a lot of that kind of stuff. We talk about updating and bundles. It even includes a lot of copy and even emails that you can send during the back to school sale, which will be in August. And so there's a lot of stuff like that in there. So I will link that down below if you are interested, and that'll be really great. And there may or may not be a sale coming, which is very rare for my stuff, as you may know. But there might be a sale coming, maybe in mid-July. Just a thought. And if you would like to be notified about things that are potentially happening, then you should definitely be on my email list. So I will leave it linked down below. Okay. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about that. Okay, I asked for some questions, as I do every single month over on my Instagram. So if you ever want to, you know, get your questions answered, that's a great place to do it. And if I don't answer your question, sometimes I will mention them in a vlog. Sometimes I will make them into their own video. So it's not that I'm not seeing it. It's just not always what I need for this particular platform. But the one of the questions that I did get was about data specifically. And so the question was asking if I look at conversions or if I'm looking at sales, I think is what they said. So my like data hierarchy is I start by looking at how much money something has made me. So typically when I look at data, I will look for like the next couple months. So I'll look at last year, what was selling in July, August, and September, and then, or even just July and August. I will look and see what made the most money, which you can see if you go to dashboard, and then if you click like change the date range, and then where it says all products, just click that little thing, and then it will go in the order of the most amount of money made. So typically my top ones are bundles because it's the most amount of money made, not the most sold product. Because if you know, sell a $3 product 100 times, it's not going to make as much money as if you sell a $100 product 4 times. So it's by the most amount of money. So I look at that first, and then after I look at that, then I'm looking at conversions to see how well that product's doing. If the conversions are maybe lower than I want, or if the views are lower than I want, then I'm going to go and look at like the data of how many people looked at the preview, how many people looked at the thumbnails, all of those kind of things, because that gives me important information about what might need to be updated. If it's not obvious, sometimes you look at a product and you're like, I know exactly what needs to be updated. For example, I really need to work on my thumbnails this month. So that's something I will be looking at in my shop. And so I will be working on thumbnails and trying to come up with a little bit of a better thumbnail design for my products, something that I just like a little bit better. And so if it's obvious, sometimes it's just obvious, but sometimes you just need to look at the data and see what needs to be updated. So that is what I'm looking for when I'm looking at data. That's kind of like my hierarchy. I only look at views if I'm trying to determine like other things. I look at the money before I look at anything else, because that's frankly the important part, because yes, we want to help people, but really the reason you sell on TPT is to make money. So that's what I'm looking at when I look there. So that's my story about that. And I, by the way, if you don't know, give a lot of behind the scenes stuff in the vlogs that go out every month. So make sure that you're watching the vlogs if you're not already. And I think that's all I have in the way of announcements. I would love to know what you're up to, if you're taking any trips. I know some of you just got out of school, so you have the whole summer ahead of you. So let me know what your goals are for the summer, what you have been up to, what you're going to be up to in the comments. I would love to read them and find out. And if you have any book suggestions, I would love some book suggestions. I've been actually doing pretty well about reading really fun books this year. I really like the Poppy Wars series. The Amalfi Curse was really good. Like, I've been reading a lot of really good books lately. but I would like to continue that. So let me know what you have been loving, and I look forward to seeing it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.